Good morning. How do I sound? Someone let me know? Is the sound okay? Uh, I'm on my laptop right now. No microphone, and I'm not in the hotel room because I didn't want to wake my family up. So kind of an interesting story there. I'll go over that in a second, but I had to find a little nook up in the top of the hotel to try to sneak into. So if I get kicked out, we might be done. We might be off early. I came up like on the meeting room level of the casino, and I'm just sitting in the hallway on a chair. So we'll see what happens. Um, Let me see. D Worms in the house. BNGO trying to get a little frisky. Let me look. I haven't even looked. I've seen CLOV is moving right now. I've been up for a while, just trying to figure out. Oh yeah, up to 2% in pre-market. Okay. Um, let's see. And it won't be long before we call you Doc B. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be. I got like another 6 months. Another 6 months. Um, yeah. I'm just gonna get to the comments today because it's gonna be hard for me to like really move around on this laptop. So let's see. Um, Good morning, Coach. Good morning, Stars. After the absolute beating we took in ATOS yesterday, do we have any chance at actually kicking this thing off? You know, it was looking pretty slim yesterday, and I mean, it still is, but I want to say there is a strike price at, let's see, I think there was that 550 strike. Um, I mean, the chances are, I would say, a lot less this morning as they were yesterday morning, especially being that it's Friday now. But being that this is a 550 strike and not just a, oh, I got you in the way right here. Let me see. Being that that's a 550 strike and not a $5 strike, like we have both, I think we might be okay. I think, there's still, and obviously the volume. This is webull, so the volume hasn't been updated yet for today. But right now, that's still 2.4 million shares that would, potentially almost 49% of them or 39% of them would need to be hedged. So, um, we should be able to, I think, maybe if we get a little movement early on, that might help. Um, and potentially we'll be able to see some action moving upwards. But I'd say definitely the chances are a little bit less today. Um, Lisa, good morning. Thank you for joining again. Skip, good morning. Good morning, Ego. Let me keep going. Michael's here. Good morning. Good morning, Clove Nation. I came across a YouTube video last night from a former market maker that outlines how Clove is being manipulated. Interesting stuff, but above my pay grade when he started referencing graphs to explain. Wow. You know what? If you get a chance, can you email that to me? I'd love to check it out. Um, my email address is just coachbstocks@gmail.com. That sounds pretty interesting, especially if he's talking like directly about Clove. So yeah, if you got that, send it over to me, please. I would love to see it. Target short sellers, what's up? How's it going? William, good morning. Yeah, D Worm says Clove's getting a little green. I noticed that like right at 6 a.m., right as I was getting ready to start off. I mean, it looks like it maybe started a little bit earlier, like 5:05. Started kind of creeping up, and then we saw this huge green candle right at 6 o'clock. So, um, definitely looking a little positive today. I don't think we have any opportunity to kick off like the gamma squeeze today, but I mean, I'm like I've said this so many times. I'm in for the long term, and I'm a long term holder. So if it doesn't happen this week or today, I'm down to wait another month, 2 months, 6 months. This to me, this stock has plenty of potential without a squeeze. But anything can happen. Um, let's see. Okay, I know I'm way behind now. Board AZ says sound is fine. Um, 68 spin drift sounds good here. Uh, Christina, coach, your dedication to this channel is unfathomable. I mean, I was kind of worried that I wasn't gonna be able to get on. Um, in worst case scenario, like I always say, I'm gonna be doing this anyways, whether I'm live streaming or not. So, if I wasn't gonna find somewhere to do it, I was just gonna be sitting in my hotel room in the dark, watching, the charts and stuff. So, I was up. I mean, like my internal clock, I was up at like 4 a.m., kind of like pacing around the room. But it was dark. My kids are sleeping in there. My wife's sleeping in there. Originally, we had scheduled to get like two rooms adjoining, and normally we don't do that. Just because my kids are on the younger side, like 9 and 7. But we were going to keep the door open between the two rooms and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, um, we booked that room because I was like, yeah, that way Friday I could just, Thursday night, three of you guys sleep in one room, I'll sleep in the other room, and so I could wake up and do this, and without waking anybody up. And I guess it's like super busy here at this hotel or this casino this weekend, and so we actually got upgraded to a suite. Um, with the beds we that were supposed to be for the two rooms we had, which is cool. I mean, the room is amazing, but it's uh, it's all one room. There's no like divider or door, so there's no way I could be doing this, in the room. Uh, my family would hate me right now. I'd be waking everybody up. So I got up and just took my laptop and started walking around the casino, and usually throughout the entire casino, there's music playing everywhere. So it was way too loud without having a headset and a microphone. And like I said earlier, I found this executive level where there's a bunch of meeting rooms behind me and stuff, like all these hallways with different meeting rooms, and I'm just sitting on a chair over here in the hallway. Let's see. Aiden, what's up, Coach? Thought on ATOS today. Price points, options flow, short interest. I have 5,000 shares, not options at 530. Well, I mean, I'll say this, and obviously, this is definitely not financial advice because, I mean, I probably know less about ATOS than any, fundamentally than any stock that I've been covering. This was just a pure options play, but. Um, Two things. One, my speculation says that, and I'm talking about like beyond today. My speculation says that if someone came in and loaded up this option chain, they're probably going to do it again, or they probably knew that there was some sort of news behind it. So the stock does look like it has a pretty strong technically, what's going on for it from a technical standpoint. And like I said, speculative. I would imagine that just the next month would probably get loaded up again. So if you're holding shares, it might be something worth considering holding on. But also, I would take a look at the ATOS subreddit because I found some really great stuff in there, and I don't really want to talk too much about it because, like I said, this wasn't a fundamental play for me, but it does seem like they're waiting on some news, and this could be more of a long-term potential stock. If you just bought it for the gamma squeeze and that doesn't happen today, you know, um, it's not too much of a loss to just sell and walk away. But maybe do a little research. It might be something that's worth sticking into. The gamma squeeze for me was just kind of like a high risk, high reward. Throw a little money at it and see if it happens. Um, Jawad, what's up? What's going on? Let's see. Co-creator, what's up, man? Clover Health Corp announces grocery benefit is now available to eligible members in 101 counties. Right on. Did that come out right at 6 o'clock? Like I said, I feel like I'm going blind right now just because I don't have as much information pulled up in front of me. I did get the Ortex pulled up though. I'll pull that up in a second, and we'll check out CLOV and ATOS because I know someone else just asked about ATOS. That was Aiden. But yeah, so maybe that could be why we saw that little spike if that happened at 6 a.m. Um, Still a big disparity between calls and puts below $5 on ATOS. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. because I do have Thinkorswim app on my phone, and even though you guys can't see it, at least I'll be able to kind of look at the open interest. So yeah, so um, looks like right here at $4, we're now at 21,000 versus 17, so that's about the same. Uh, Moving lower, it's now at 35,000 instead of 36, so 35 versus 15. Um, Here is now 39, so it looks like we lost about maybe 1,000 contracts at each strike. But I mean, considering the type of numbers we have sitting here, that's not big at all. At the five, so hold on, so 35 versus this is 450 strike, 35 versus 15, it's the same. $5 strike is now 39 versus 19, so the same. And 550 strike, 35 versus 10. So the same. Over here, 4212 and 66 versus 7900. So I mean, the setup is actually absolutely there. It's just a matter of gaining back what we lost yesterday and seeing if it can give us that push. Um, let's see. Peter, what's up? Good morning. Can I do this with my? I lost my scroll on here. Or is that the last comment? Maybe that's the last comment. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get used to this. There we go. No, I keep losing my the ability to scroll. Having some technical There we go. I just had to grab my mouse. Um, all right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Here we go. Uh, Sorry, guys. So Peter said, "Good morning." Let's see. Christina, Clover announced a new grocery stipend. All right, I think that's what co-creator was talking about too. Um, CVS, Kroger, Walmart, and Walgreens. Okay. Yeah, that might be why we're getting some movement now too. I mean, it seems like normally with with Clove lately, even when we get positive information, the stock still gets hammered down. We'll check Ortex here in a second too before the market opens. Um, YouTube notifications always pop up 7 minutes after I'm already in the stream. I don't know why it does that. I gotta figure that out. Let's see. D Worm, is that username? They might be Giants reference. I don't even get that reference. I'm not sure, Dan. But what's up, Dan? Thanks for coming in here. Um, 4 a.m. MST. So that's 2 hours before me. So that's like 2 a.m. over here. Wow. Let's see. Chef Daddy's in the house. Kim, good morning. Thanks for joining. Um, okay, sorry, I'm hella behind, but so I guess that's a band. Okay. Um, oh, that's cool to know. Levi says someone linked your stream in the ATOS sub yesterday. Yeah. I've been in there once or twice because someone did that in the past, like put one of my videos in there, and that's how I went in there and started learning more about the company too. And it seems like they were doing really, really great stuff in regards to with their breast cancer research and everything, And like I said, it looks like it's potentially uh, way more of a long-term play. What I've been reading about it and looking at it, this is something that I just hopped into, as a short-term kind of gamma squeeze thing. But I've been doing a lot of research on it, and that's actually how I found out about Clove. Kind of a long story, but very similar to how this is unfolding with ATOS. We'll see what happens today, though. I'd love to see this gamma squeeze kick off today. Um, Scotty, what's up? Good morning. Tom says, I know Fridays are traditionally red days, but got high hopes today. Yeah, I think after the beating that like all the stocks kind of took over the last week, and even a little bit last week too. It really does seem like one of these days is going to be a bounce back day, and it might as well be today. Micro Badger says Max Payne is above our current price, so that would help. Yeah, Max Payne on Clove, last I checked, I think was $11. So, from a market maker standpoint, they might be looking to let this thing move. So we won't be fighting as much against them. Where normally I feel like market makers are trying to push the price down. Um, because of that Max Payne number. They don't want to, they want to see more losers on both sides is the theory. But today at least, we're really probably only fighting against short sellers that are trying to suppress the price. So a little bit better. Michael says I linked your stream on the Discord today. Right on, Michael. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Um, does Clove ever have a chance of being added to the Russell? So, um, my understanding with that sort of thing is that it only happens once a year, or no, I'm sorry, I think it's every 3 months maybe. But either way, it's not going to happen like tomorrow or anything like that. But the next time that they reshuffle the Russell, and I could be wrong. I think I don't know if it's every 3 months or once a year, but yeah, as soon as they reshuffle the Russell around, my belief is that Clove is at that kind of point now. So the biggest issue before was the voting rights, and they had that problem with they had way too many Class B shares, and Class B shareholders, I believe, I don't remember the exact number, but they get more voting rights than Class A shareholders, like all of us who are holding Clover Class A. And because of those voting rights and the number of people that had Class Bs, that was kind of the stipulation on why they weren't able to get in. Well, um, recently, Green Oaks converted 21 million of their 96 million shares over to Class A, which would help and put us over that threshold of the voting right percentage. So, speculation is, the next time they kind of shuffle around those indexes, we will be able to get in. Um, if people were looking to support and fill out the Clove options chain for August 20th, what calls need most love in order to help along a gamma squeeze? Well, I'll say this. Just and this is my advice. I feel like retail, um, you know, it's not really our job to load it up. Usually that's like the big whales and institutions that come in and buy up, in the thousands, which is where we need to be at. I think for us, it's more along the lines of, buy shares and hold, or when you see the potential for a gamma squeeze created by a whale or whales, then you'd want to jump on and maybe take a little risk. That would be my advice for real, because and I know I'm not supposed to give like financial advice, but the only reason I say that is because options are risky, and for us to go in and try to load up the chain as retail, is probably a losing bet. Um, you know, but when we notice something like that, then it's easy to like jump on board and like so the way I've been playing it, I have my long-term Clove position, but then when I notice that there's potential in the options chain, then I'll go in and buy short-term options as a bet. Because it's that way I'm not wasting my money like loading up on August 20th, and then August 20th doesn't happen. Then I need to go load up on another one. But just to look at the Clove option chain to answer your question, like what's kind of missing there, um, looking right now, just looking at out of the money strikes. Basically, the way I look at it, we want to see probably for a float this size, a 10,000 at least differential. And it could be a little bit less, but that's kind of where we want to be. And so, like right now, we only have a 3,000 differential at 9, but by August 20th, we might be trading above 9, so it won't matter. It's really the out of the money calls that you want to be able to ramp it up. Once you get past the strike price, you want that to push you to the next strike price and then push you to the next strike price. And 10,000 shares or 10,000 contracts basically equates to 1 million shares. So here we have a 13,000 difference at 10, a 12,000 difference at 11. So 12 would kind of be the fall off right now, where we only have a 2,000 differential. And then we do have a 9,000 at 13. So really the $12 strike is probably the one that needs to be loaded up. But I repeat, I'm in no way advocating for people to go out and buy $12 strikes for August, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you might be able to make some decent money there, or they might suppress the price right at 12. At August 20th, and it could be a losing play. Um, Patrick says good afternoon from UK. What's up, Patrick? Um, let's see here. Star says added the link on Reddit. Thank you, Stars. I appreciate it for real. I mean, I've been trying to, uh, this channel's been kind of blowing up on me lately, and I really appreciate it. And everybody, like, even the way that I mean, I had been covering Clove for months now, and kind of the way that my channel really started growing was some people started posting it on the Clove subreddit, and that's how I found out about the Clove subreddit. And then once I started getting in there and reading and learning more about the company, and kind of became part of the community. Um, and that usually happens with most plays I get into. Like BNGO is one that I'm in for the long term, and I have been for a long time. But I've been, kind of lurking around in their subreddit for a while too. That one's more of like an echo chamber, though. I feel like, to where, I kind of try not to read too many of the posts, because every day they say the stock's going to explode, and it's just, I like to read good DD, and really look at some like deep research into companies and get people's opinions, and I've been seeing a lot of that in the ATOS sub too. Um, Michael Badger, right on. Yeah, usually when I'm unsure about something, I'll get online and actually Google it and check it out. It's just kind of weird on my laptop and where I'm at right now in a hotel hallway and stuff. So I didn't have the opportunity to. But thank you for that. And I say this all the time too. That's why I love doing this, because I learn something new every day. And then if I could share stuff with you guys that maybe you guys learn something every day too, that's what this is all about. It's a community, and you just taught me something new. So thank you, Michael Badger. I appreciate it. Michael says hit the like button. Yeah, please show me some love. If you're out there, we got like 85 in here. If you're enjoying the stream, if this is your first time on the stream too, I'm doing this from a hotel hallway in Reno right now. So usually I'm sitting in my office at home, and I much bigger monitor with two different side monitors, and it's a little bit different. So um, just bear with me today. Also didn't get any coffee today. Um, let's see. Does anyone think GME has played out already, or is there still a large upside to it? I believe there's still upside to it. So let me move back to the 4 up too. Let me put this back up. I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. Um, I just think, will it squeeze? Can it squeeze right now? I mean, all that is all speculation. I'd say same speculation with Clove and everything else. Like, all these stocks are being manipulated, but and there's a lot of cases to be made out there about naked shorting and everything, and I believe in them. But really, the reason that I'm staying with GME and at these prices. If ATOS explodes today and I'm able to pull out a little cash, I'm probably going to add to both my positions in Clove and GameStop because GameStop I see as, fundamentally uh, more of a long term play, just looking at, where this company is pivoting to. They haven't really made the announcements, but, for a guy like Ryan Cohen coming from Chewy, right? Or started Chewy, and now Chewy is competing with Amazon, right? So probably took up more of the pet market than Amazon actually holds right now. So he was able to do that with pet food. Okay. And I know they do more than pet food, but think about that. And the pet industry is a lot smaller than the gaming industry. So I think it's just a matter of like broadening, like, okay, what else can GameStop get into in the gaming industry? And they really put a lot of executives in place to make that happen. Like, if you talk about a company that, I mean, they've been pulling executives away from Amazon, Apple, Chewy, just to name a few of them. They're definitely look to be building something bigger, and people aren't going to leave a company like Amazon or a company like Chewy and these thriving companies to come over to, a dying brick and mortar store that makes their money off trading video games. So I mean, that's my look at it. They've got something else in the books. They've got something working on right now, and they said it at the last shareholder meeting that they want to be evaluated on their actions, not on their plans. So they're going to keep everything kind of close to pocket, and we're just going to kind of see it unfold live. So to me, I'm really excited because the gaming industry. I pulled up the numbers yesterday, so I don't know exactly what it was, but I think by 2025 is estimated to be something like 250 billion. Um, so I mean, just carving into that market cap a little bit, I think can be huge for this stock. Where I think it's got potential to go 5 times, 4 times from where it's at right now. It might be a 5-year play to get there, but that's my look at it. Um, yeah, my email is coachbstocks@gmail.com. Thank you again, Lisa. I can't wait to check that out. Um, let's see. Fluffer Troasters in the house. Good morning, Coach and Clove fam. Hope you checked out CMMB yesterday. Aunt Kathy bought it at close, and after hours looking good so far. You know what? I didn't. I have that notepad, and the notepad that I wrote it on, I brought with me up here. But yesterday, as soon as I signed off the stream, I got on a couple phone calls, and then I had to go pack. Then I had to get my kids packed. Made them breakfast. If Tar Heel's listening right now, he's going to give me shit about that. He always says that I got to make my kids breakfast. Uh, and then, and then later on, I had to make them lunch. And then it was like we were leaving. My wife got off work early, and we jumped in the car and drove out here. So I didn't get a chance to check it out, but I will. And I actually have it written down, and I'm gonna take a look at it. Yeah, Levi, the other thing, even as a swing trade, I'll say this, like with GameStop, right now trading below 180, if you pull up their daily chart, and I'm not even going to try to do it right now, I'll do it on Monday when I get back home, just because it's a little bit harder on the laptop right now. But if you pull up their daily chart, you'll see that since January, they've dipped below like this 180 point, I believe twice now. And every time it's ran right back to 350, and then it gets hammered down by short sellers right at 350. So my speculation in terms of a squeeze play is, 350 is kind of that point of no return, and they keep hammering it down. And if we ever cross 350, we're going to see some price action like AMC saw. So, where they ended up tripling their January highs. That's more of my squeeze analysis or scenario of it, and I have no idea. That's just my speculation. But even as a fundamental play, being able to get in right now, obviously, this is more speculative pricing. This isn't like Clove, where Clove I think fundamentally should be trading at 3 times its value right now. This is more speculative in the future fundamentals. I think. This company has a lot of it's gonna be earning down the road. That's just my thoughts on it. Breakfast, yeah, they need to learn how to make cereal, huh? Nah, I mean, really, my kids they're pretty good. They'll get up and kind of make their own food and stuff, like a bowl of cereal or something like that. But right now, while I'm off work over the summer and they're home with me, really since COVID started, they've been kind of spoiled. I make breakfast every morning because we've been home now. Anyone who's joining the stream, I'm a high school teacher, and so I've basically been at home since not this last March, but the March before. And so my kids have been home with me. A little crazy. They drive me nuts sometimes, but like I said, so I just that's something that I've been doing now. Where normally they would either eat breakfast at school. The school has a cool breakfast program where we would drop them off like on my way to work, and something we never had to deal with, or they'll make their own cereal or something like that. But they've been kind of spoiled lately. Um, DJ's in the house, stopping by for my usual brief visit before I have to go out again, hoping for a half decent Friday as an excuse to hit the stonk tails later on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know what? This how great would it be though if we get like a nice green day, we start ripping, and that'd make for an exciting stonk tails later on. Um, let's see. Could SSR be significant for ATOS today? So, um, I'll put it like this: it could be, but I don't get my hopes up for SSR anymore. After trading in GameStop for over 6 months, we hit very very many SSRs. Um, I mean, I can't even count how many SSRs we've been through with GameStop now. And the short sellers, they find ways to hammer the stock down still. Um, one way I know they were doing it, or at least speculation that somebody put out on the Super Stonks subreddit at the time, and it made a lot of sense, was buying like deep in the money calls and exercising them right away, and then just selling those into the market. So now it's a sell and not necessarily a short. Um, and I think there's other ways that they get around it too. An SSR day, they're still allowed to short. They're just not allowed to short downwards. So they're basically allowed to like put up sell walls, so to speak. Um, where you could buy up and then buy into their short position. But I'm uh I'm fairly confident that these guys can still figure out ways to hammer the stock down. I mean, we've seen it in CLOV recently, even where we're on a SSR day and the stock is just getting violent downward movement. And that type of stuff doesn't happen, in my opinion. Unless short sellers are coming in and just trying to tank the price as hard as they can. So that's good to see the stream's actually doing good. I was worried. I'm just sitting on like the regular hotel Wi-Fi, so I was worried that even that wouldn't work. But it's good to hear, and that the mic sounds good too. The last time I used this laptop to make a video, um, I was down in LA in a hotel room, and I made the video real quick. It was an update on Clove, and the sound was absolutely terrible. And I was really worried about that. And so earlier this week, I actually did a little test run at my house on my laptop with Tar Heel. I got him to jump on and just check it out, and I messed with my mic settings, and so I'm just happy this is working right now. Fluffy says, "Are you drinking already, Tar Heel?" Yeah, he's been. I know he's. I don't know if he stuck to it, but Tar Heel's been saying since Monday. I want to say that he was going to hold off on drinking until we got to Stonk Tales this week. So I don't know. I'm interested to see if he did it. Kids need breakfast. Yeah, I know. They should be able to just run on on whatever they ate the night before. Um, let's see. Damn. So ATOS was doing a little good here and gap down on this next candle. You know what? I'm almost caught up with the chat. I'm gonna pull up Ortex real quick. I'm just interested to see how many shares are coming out. Scotty says he'll be drinking later no matter what. Uh, all right, I gotta put this one up here. Ah, it's too big. What's going on here? There we go. Bleed Blue Matthew. North Carolina, take your shirt off, wrap it around your hand like a helicopter. Let's see. Dave says, Coach, stream is good as if you were at your home office. Sound is actually better. Wow. So you're telling me that expensive mic I bought is no good. I'll have to check that out. Maybe I have the mic settings wrong too. I know that mic that I bought, it seems like I have to be like close to it to actually get. Maybe I'm doing that wrong. I just got to do a little research. Chef says making your kids breakfast are the memories that no stock can buy. Great to hear that. Um, to be dedicated that you hang with us while you're on your getaway is appreciated and awe-inspiring. Right on, man. You know what? I've always wondered too. So, are you a chef? Um, the name Chef Daddy. I'm assuming so, or you just like to cook. So, because I just love to cook. I mean, I'm not an actual. I feel like I could be a chef, but I'm not. I'm always the one either cooking in the kitchen or outside barbecuing or smoking, stuff or whatever it may be. I'm always the person cooking it whenever we get together with friends or whatever it may be. I love to cook. It's kind of like a nice stress relief for me. Uh, all right, let's talk Clove. Co-creators trying to keep me on track. Let's see. All right, so looking at Clove right now, uh, yeah, we did gap up a little bit. Maybe we could possibly just be filling this gap, um, which seems like from where we're trading at right now, we almost did. I think we closed yesterday at. We might have to go like maybe a couple pennies down more to actually fill the gap. I'm gonna pull up the S&P 500 though, because it looks like we're getting a little bit of downward pressure right now. Ortex data right now for Clove. No, I was messing around in the chat for too long and we didn't really get a chance to look at the Ortex. So, Ortex data right now, uh, shares on loan today 47 million, which is estimated short interest 27%. And yeah, a lot of shares borrowed today. So a 10% jump in short interest so far today. But we've seen this fluctuate, these numbers fluctuate big time. Like, it's showing 10% up right now. Some other shares get returned intraday, and all of a sudden this will be at zero. I mean, one day last week, I think we were as high as a 10% jump, which would have put us like super high in like the high 40s or something. And then later on that day, we were like net differential of like 6%. But as of right now, 434,000 shares returned versus 5.5 million borrowed for a 5.14 million difference. I borrowed desk. The hell is this? Hmm. Thought I had it set up. There we go. Clove. I borrowed desk. 5 million shares available. So they're seeing a huge return in shares, apparently. Yesterday was also kind of high, 4 million. But we started yesterday off, I think, at like 3.5 million. So we are seeing some return shares there. 5% fee. And Ortex right now is going a fee from 1% to 8.29 with an average of 4. Um, so something to keep an eye on, and we'll keep looking back at that throughout the day. Let's see. DJ says the new mic sounds great, but maybe the settings in the PC just need tweaking to make it a bit louder. Yeah, I gotta play around with it. Um, When I bought it, it was right before we did that first Clove roundtable, and I just set it up real quick, and then it was like working, and people were saying it sounded better, and so I never really looked back at it, and I just kind of kept rolling with it. But if I'm sounding better right now, just going straight through my laptop, the regular internal microphone, there's definitely something I got to do to that mic, because I think that thing was like $100. So it should be working. And from what I've been told, I have a buddy who does a podcast who recommended that mic to me, and he's like, that's one of the best mics on the market. So um, we'll have to see what's up. Ross Lowe's in the house says cooking birdies in the kitchen, palms itching. That's a SIBO reference, Bay Area rap. I don't know who else from in here is from the Bay, but that is definitely a Bay Area rap reference. Let's see. My man, love being a daddy of three children that I know of. Oh man, you guys making me laugh today. Um, I think I must have missed something here. Let's see. So Tim says, Tar Heel Blue, I've been watching the Wall Street conspiracy. If SEC, government, banks don't give a damn about small business companies, scenarios like with Eagle Tech, is it possible with Clove? All right, so I saw Tar Heel's response to that, but I didn't see. So Tar Heel says Eagle Tech was crazy. I was listening to Wes C about it. That's Wes Christian, for anyone who's not sure what he's talking about. I don't believe we need SEC help, to be honest. There was debt spiral financing. We have a good SPAC set up and are primed for liftoff. Yeah, and I agree with that too. I think this company is going to speak for itself as it continues to grow, and um, and by their actions, I'm talking Clove now, and just the expansion. And at some point, that Clover AI and what they're doing with it is going to be a game changer. And again, I think their actions are going to speak louder than anything. And it's just going to take a while for short sellers to either lay off or just an influx of more institutional buying that they can't keep up with. Um, let's see here. Let me just check out these charts. I want to look at some other stocks too. Normally, I have them over on the screen to the side of me. But ATOS looks like we're holding above that 550 level, which I think if we're going to have a chance to kick that off with ATOS, we definitely need to stay above that. I mean, it would be a lot nicer if we were above 6. I know I talked about that before we left yesterday, but there is a ton of open interest at basically from what, $4 all the way up to throughout the entire chain. But the 550 strike does have a lot of potential too to get us moving upwards, and that's what it's all about. But I think we definitely need some buying to come in and kind of kick us up closer to 6. That's my speculation at least. We'll see if we can start turning this around. Um, but it did hit a bottom of what, right around 551, and it's trading down 3 pennies on the day, so not much there. Clove, kind of the same thing. We're trading down 1 penny on the day. We did fill the gap, so if this thing was waiting to do that, it should be primed for liftoff right now. Volume on Clove, let's see, right now is 2.6 million, so volume's a little bit on the lower side. Um, and then GameStop is actually up almost 3%, $4.83. GameStop had some really crazy after hours action yesterday. We haven't seen this in a while. I'm going to try to zoom out here, but it started at about 10:45 during the day, and I mean it just started rolling up, kind of flattened out a little bit, and then this morning even popped up to 175. I mean, it was as low as 155 at one point yesterday. So, um, you know, maybe we could finally be seeing this thing reverse and get ready to go back. Anyone else who's in GameStop knows this stock just kind of, it goes on its little runs, and then you see these flash crashes. It gets knocked back down, trade sideways for a little bit. I think while IV cools off, and then you see, some bigger players come in and start buying the stock up, and then it'll go on another run again. But one of these days, I think it'll bust through 350. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Are we mirroring any other meme stocks or the market today? Just by looking at your screen, it appears we're on our own course today. Is that right? Let's look around. I mean, normally, like I said, I have like 12 other stocks up that I'm always looking at. But if anything, let me take a look around real quick and just see some of the other ones. So, definitely not on the same page as GameStop right now. It looks like, both kind of dumped off right at the open. And the S&P, has been kind of red over the last 3 bars. Maybe looking to go green right now, but let's check out AMC, see what they're doing today. Yeah, I'd say it's kind of early to tell, but maybe potentially AMC. Just looking at but it's so hard right now. Really, in this first half hour of the day, it's almost like the every stock is kind of establishing its range for the day and kind of getting squared away and seeing what's going on with it. And then you'll start seeing like VWAP kind of changing a little, and maybe a bottom and a top will be established through some of the opening candles. So it's kind of hard this early to really tell if we are tracking anything, because we're trading right around VWAP right now. We haven't really dropped too far below it or above it. Um, do you think the lower borrow fees with the stock price so compressed will help fuel squeeze potential, trapping these new shorts? Yeah, lower borrow fees would probably invite new shorts into the stock, or people who may be covered when the borrow fees were higher into the stock, and potentially get more shorters in. Um, but that could also potentially drop the price lower too, right? If you have more people hammering the stock. Um, what I don't understand, and I think this is a good segue to it, is how did we lose so much short interest, and how were so many shares returned when the price has been going down? You know what I mean? That's been kind of baffling to me. It's like, we didn't see some crazy price spike to justify, the amount of shares that have been returned over the last, week or so. Um, I also know, there has been a ton of dark pool action, and potentially, shorting on the dark pool, and so what we could be seeing is, returning the shares, but then still continuing to short it through the dark pool or something along those lines. I can't really say that though, because I haven't done enough digging into it. I know there has been some other posts on the subreddit, on the CLOV subreddit, that kind of speculate into that, but I got to be perfectly honest. I haven't done enough reading into it to say whether or not I truly believe that's what's going on, but it does seem a little off, and it definitely seems like it's getting manipulated, because something's going on. Whether the numbers being reported to Ortex are wrong, or Ortex is reporting the numbers wrong, or if there's something else going on where these shares really were returned, but now there's new shorts going out in the dark pool, or something else that's not getting reported. But something's off with this data, and there's definitely manipulation to this stock happening right now, and unfortunately, like I said, that's it's not just Clove either. Anyone who's been in GameStop or AMC for all this time knows that this same kind of stuff that's happening with Clove right now has been happening over there for almost 6 months. Um, you know, uh, so I don't know. But I do think that at some point, if you are short of stock and you're borrowing those shares, you do have to return them at some point. And so when that day comes, especially if volume is drying up the way it has been in a lot of these stocks, when they try to buy back and the people holding the shares aren't going to sell them for, you know, $9, $10, $11, and we're going to keep holding, um, they're going to have to be buying back in a very low volume situation, which is going to drive the price up ridiculously high. So at least that's the short squeeze thesis. Michael says they're obviously cheating. Yeah, that's kind of my thought on it too. You know, let's see. Ego says closed out a penny stock for decent profit, got more clove ammo. Yeah, man, that's why I was hoping that ATOS would kind of come around and be one of those plays where I could if this, and it still could, but if the gamma squeeze was to hit in ATOS today and I could sell and get some extra powder, I'm gonna probably throw it, depending on how much it is. I'm gonna definitely buy clove at these levels, but if I'm able to make a really decent profit today off ATOS, I'll be doubling down probably on not doubling down, but buying into both GameStop and Clove this afternoon. But we just got to see it play out. It's not looking too strong right now for this ATOS gamma squeeze. We did break below 550. Um, trading at 530 now, and now that we are in expiration day, trading below these levels works in the opposite way. So, and I'll pull this up real quick, the option chain, just so you can see what I'm talking about. But um, kind of like I was talking about earlier in the week, where every minute that passes, you know, this 0.71 delta at the $5 strike is going to continue to go up until it gets to 99. And even that right there is what, roughly 2 million shares, 29% of 2 million shares, so almost like 500,000 shares, somewhere around there. But now that we lost the 550 strike, every minute that this 550 strike is staying out of the money, what's going to happen is that's 47% of 2.5 million shares, so almost 1 million shares that are going to get unwound into the market, and that's going to create downward pressure. So we really need, and then the same thing at the $6 strike, 3 million shares, that's 29% of that 3 million that it's going to get unwound into the market throughout today. Unless we can get this ATOS to get back above 550, which would get us working back in the other direction. So, um, and there's obviously a little bit more math to it if you sat here and calculated it for everything that needs to still be added into the delta here. Might compensate for what's getting taken away here, but just rough speculation. We absolutely need to try to get this thing back up above 550, or hope it gets there. Clover looks like it's bouncing above VWAP right now. Not a lot of volume behind that. I mean, it seems like about the same as normal, right around that 400,000 range is where we've been trading. But we'll see what happens. A lot of times when you bust through VWAP without volume, you'll see it kind of fall back down and maybe trade sideways right around there before it takes off. Let's see here. Target short sales. Yeah, that's the news today. Clover Health announces grocery benefit eligible to members in 101 counties. And it seemed like a couple people now have posted on here. I'll jump to it, but participating retailers, CVS, Kroger, Walgreens, and Walmart. So definitely some positive news there. Um, I'm sure there'll be some people figuring out a way it seems like lately, no matter what happens, they figure out a way to try to spin it in a negative light. But positive news, this should be something that moves the stock up. Let's, I've just been learning to temper my expectations lately. It's not that I'm not excited. It's not that I don't feel great about the stock still. It's just I don't want to get my hopes up too high that like something's going to happen today. This is definitely a long-term hold in a company that could be trading in triple digits down the road just based off their fundamentals. So um, let's see. Really, I don't think I'm ever going to invest in drug companies again. The whole thing stinks of a rigged game. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole nother. I was just talking on the phone about this. You know, it, there. Don't get me wrong either. There's a short selling is sometimes can be good for the market. Um, an overvalued company, and you could find kind of like opportunities in short selling and kind of like to equal things out and get the market back down to where it needs to be. But you also have these like short sellers and that kind of are a little bit more nefarious in what they do. And there's underlying reasons why they're doing it. And this is all just me kind of, uh, I guess, taking a guess at it. But who would stand to gain the most by hammering down pharmaceutical companies, companies that are looking to cure breast cancer, companies that are looking to, you know, even like with BNGO, has a system that's, eventually could find the cure for cancer, and all these other things, or cures that would no longer require people to be dependent on drugs and pharmaceuticals. I mean, and to me, the answer is pretty simple. It's like big pharma, right? And so, um, it behooves them to try to suppress these stocks, especially when they're in their growing stages. We're talking about ATOS now, not CLOV for anyone who's maybe just joining in. But it behooves them to suppress these stocks and take away their ability to raise more funding as they're starting to grow, and really kind of saw them off before they could make major developments. And I think that's a lot of what's going on when you see these kind of like growth companies that are doing really insane research and game changing research, and then they're getting so heavily shorted. Um, you know that those aren't short sellers that I think are good for the market. And then on top of that, when you talk about Clove and how Clove is so heavily shorted, I'm sure there's some people who stand to benefit from that. Whether it be competition or you know whoever it may be. But there's it definitely, when you see something going on that with this much market manipulation, kind of makes you wonder who's on the other side of it. Watch some of Jim Cramer's old private interviews. Yeah, I noticed those have been getting shared around recently. Those kind of made their way through God, it wasn't even the Super Stonk Reddit at the time. This was like before the Super Stonk subreddit. There was a GME subreddit, and before that, everything was on Wall Street Bets. And I think right around like late January, early February, before the GME followers kind of migrated over to their own sub, I want to say those videos were getting circulated around Wall Street Bets for a while too. Um, Manny's in Canada. What's up, Manny? Thanks for joining. This is crazy, and I'm probably going to keep talking about this because it really is like baffling to me that, you know, um, got people in here from the UK, Canada, Belgium, also, like all over the US. But I mean, we've been seeing people pop in here from all over the place. And for me, for someone who, never even imagined that I'd be sitting here doing a live stream, it's really, really exciting, really humbling. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Um, does the current option chain motivate hedge funds to get this below 8? I don't necessarily know if it's hedge funds. It would really be so from a market maker's perspective, which is different, right? Market makers would rather see the stock go to like that max pain, which is I think 11 last I checked earlier in the week, which basically means that's when most of the puts, all these puts out here, are going to expire, or not out here, down here are going to expire worthless. And that would include these 21,000 puts here and 15,000 here. So if it was to close around 11, all these people would lose money and all these people with calls would lose money. And that's kind of where a market maker would want to be. But from a hedge fund or anyone who's short the stock, or like anyone who's sitting on 13,000 puts or the bulk of these 13,000 would absolutely try to get it below there. And I just got a text from Tar Heel. He said Max Payne's actually at $10 now. Okay, so I wonder if that must have changed throughout the week. As we saw some different call volume come in, because I swear it was at 11, but so yeah, so Max Payne's at 10 now. Thank you, bro. Too. I don't have my information up in front of me today. I'm kind of, like I said, I kind of feel like I'm flying blind, but yeah, I mean, whoever's sitting on these puts here is going to want to drop that price definitely below there, but probably even well below 8, right? Because if you bought the put, you're looking for the stock to drop below that strike price. The same way that if you bought the call, you want to go, if you have an $8 call today, you'd much rather be at $8.30 than you would be at 8.01, and really you'd rather be at $9 or $10 because that's where you're really going to make some money on that, that premium. So Target Short Sellers brings up a great point. He says volume so far is 2.5 million, but over 6 million shares have been borrowed today. Yeah, that Ortex data just doesn't seem accurate, and it could, and I'm not trying to defend Ortex. I have no, let me pull this over real quick. So this is what he's talking about. I'll make sure this is, but yeah, there's been almost 6 million shares borrowed today, versus the volume of, we've only seen about 2.5 million volume. So where we at? All right, we're actually at 3.8 now, so I must be behind in the chat. But yeah, and I'm not trying to defend Ortex at all, but they go off of numbers that are reported to them too, right? And so if they're getting this data reported to them late, probably potentially even on purpose, people are trying to suppress data and not get it out there as fast as possible. That could be a possibility as well. So it could be the people that are supposed to be reporting those numbers to Ortex, or it could be that Ortex is trying to, kind of suppress the data and slow down the data to us. I don't know, but that does seem absolutely insane. Now, the one thing I'll say too, though, is you could borrow shares and short them later. So it could absolutely be that someone borrowed, that 6 million shares were borrowed today, um, and they're just waiting to short those into the market at a different time. So, and then there's also the dark pool, where who knows what the volume is in the dark pool right now. The circuit breaker, well, the circuit breaker wasn't hit yesterday, but we did hit down 10%. I think is what you're talking about. So, um, yeah, the SSR. Now, is Clove on SSR today too? I know ATOS is. Or is that what you're talking about, is ATOS? Sorry, let me. Feeling a little off today on my. But either way, yeah, I don't even think ATOS hit a circuit breaker yesterday, but it did get on SSR. So the difference is a circuit breaker, and I could be wrong, maybe it did. I wasn't staring at the charts all day, but a circuit breaker is when you get, I believe, a 10% drop on a 1 minute candle, and they'll actually halt trading for 5 minutes. And then SSR is triggered when you just get a 10% drop throughout intraday. So at any point during the day, if you drop below 10% on the day, the next day you'll go on short sale restriction. Co-creator says he's throwing his phone on the lake. Ego, stay strong. We got this. Yeah, no, I agree. Um, ATOS though, dipping down below 5 now. I would imagine that's probably getting hit really hard. Let me see if I can pull up Ortex on ATOS. Let me see here. All right, here we go. Shares on loan as of this morning was 31 million, with a short interest of 20%, and today 2 million more. So Um, yeah, but it's definitely getting hammered down pretty hard. And the lower we go, the more we're going to see the reverse effect from the option chain too. So I would hope that somebody would come step in and see here, give us some sort of support and try to push this thing higher. But it does look like the Bears are winning right now on this ATOS play. Um, So Clove, like I said, we did break above VWAP. We got above there for a little bit without a lot of volume behind it, and usually that'll somewhat bring, kind of be like a false breakthrough. And now we're falling back below, so kind of expected, but things could still turn back around. I think we got 3 minutes left on that candle. Um, T Worm says, "Go get yourself a new iPhone." I need one too. My iPhone's terrible. I think we talked about that recently on here. Um, Michael says, "Wait for Clove to pop so you can buy a new one." Yeah, I'm actually. So my neighbor, um, I think we had talked about it the other day too, about a week ago, that he uses a Samsung, and it drives me crazy because when he text messages, you can't do all the features that you do on the iPhone. So he ruins every group text that he's in. Um, and I told him after one of these plays hit, I'm gonna buy him an iPhone. So we'll see. Um, Wonder if he's listening right now. Um, let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up. I'm way behind in the chat. At what point does the screwing of retail investors go beyond SEC and move into the realm of the Justice Department? I really think that's a great question. I think that it starts with the SEC, right? It starts with the SEC kind of like pointing it out, and um, but I also think that if it could go directly to the Justice Department too. There's been cases where like you'll see FBI investigations into securities fraud and things along those lines. So um, you know I do think that there's some progress being made, if anything, or could be. Maybe I'm just being too positive, too glass half full. But I feel like, if anything, all this that's been going on since January or even before January, because all of this manipulation and stuff has been happening in the market for decades, right? Um, but maybe even longer. Probably since the market was created. But I think what's happened since January has really brought it to the mainstream, and you got a lot of stuff going on. People are talking about it now, and people are finding other ways to get information and get up to date information without relying on mainstream media. And then you have people like Wes Christian. I know Tar Heel talks about him a lot. He's got a lot of great information out there, but he's actually, last I saw, starting up like a legal team to actually kind of take this a little bit higher, and not necessarily specific to any stock, but just the manipulation that's been happening, in general. But I definitely think, in the grand scheme of things right now, retail's probably winning. And the reason I say that is even just psychologically. I mean, these are guys who've been manipulating the market to do whatever the hell they want for years. And, if you go back and look, shit, I didn't mean to, I'm not going to do it right now, but go look at the AMC chart, go look at the GameStop chart, and look at a lot of these other charts in between. Even close pop up to 28 a month ago, in the future pop that we're going to see. But, this is the type of stuff that normally, I don't think that they would have been able to like lose control of like that. But what we're finding is like with building these little communities, like the Clove subreddit, and the one that AMC's put together, which is much larger. And I think one day we may be able to get there with Clove. But um, it's people sharing information and putting information into the hands of the retail investor, and getting people more educated, and we're fighting back. And I think from a psychological standpoint, we are winning because they're not used to fighting this battle. That so I think it's making a difference. Um, yeah, I agree with that though. We can't trust the SEC to fix the issue, and there's a problem with that too. Uh, these big institutions and banks and hedge funds and market makers and all these people that kind of play around on Wall Street. Um, they a lot of them came up in the SEC. So you get people who work in the SEC for a couple years and they don't want to be the guy that's slapping everybody around and causing trouble, because at one point it seems like a lot of these dudes they leave the SEC to go get a nice cush job at a hedge fund or at for a big company like Citadel or for one of these banks, or the opposite happens, where you have someone leave a bank and then go get a job for like, a clearinghouse or something like that. So it seems like they're all in bed with each other, and you can't really trust them to do the right thing. Absolutely. Um, Reddit has a post about a petition to get them to look into all the hedgy shorting. 37,000 signed it, I think. Yeah, D Worm. Or what subreddit at least? Was it in the Clove subreddit, or is that somewhere else? Tar Heel says, yeah, the West Christian lawsuit currently. Yep. Um, Scotty's taking off. All right, Scotty, have a great weekend. Maybe we'll see you on Stock Tales later. I'm sorry, Stonk Tales. Stonk Tales. It changed. Uh, Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up. Ross Lowe says, buy your neighbor the new Clover phone. I don't know if there is a Clover phone yet, but Clove's a technology company. It's not just health insurance. We'll have to see where that goes. Um, all right, so Tar Heel says, look up West Christian Chad Brewer. This is why it's so important to hold with diamond hands, because we're on our own with no support. Yeah, that's basically, kind of the theory and the thesis behind the whole short squeeze and everything, right? Like, and I keep talking about this, but shorting a stock isn't permanent. You're borrowing a stock from somebody and you're selling it into the market, and you have to buy that stock back. And cost to borrow increases and all that, and it costs them money every day that they hold that position. Well, what they want to happen is for them to short the stock down, and then we sell, because when we sell, it drives the price lower. Now they could buy back at a profit. Now, on the opposite, the kind of the whole theory or thesis behind it is that if they short the stock down and we don't sell, now they at some point it becomes too expensive for them, and they have to buy it back. Well, if they buy it back and we're still not selling our shares, they're just going to buy the stock right back to where they started shorting it from, or even higher if volume is dried up. So, it's definitely important to kind of weather these storms and this volatility. And at some point, when you do see like failure to deliver is getting returned, forced to be returned, or maybe we get on the threshold list, and people start paying a little bit more attention to the manipulation that's going on. Any of those things, or even retail buying pressure coming back in, but any sort of buying that comes into the market and volume is dried up, and we own all these shares and we're not selling them, that's when you're going to see these pops and these runs. That, and the option chain also has a lot to do with it too. And again, I know I talked about it earlier in the stream. I'm not saying we need to go in and load up the option chain. What I'm saying is, um, you'll get like bigger whales and bigger buyers that'll come in with the money to set up these big moves. they'll definitely see that like IV is low. It's kind of, this is a good time to strike, and then they'll come in and load up the option chain to give us that opportunity to make the, basically to leverage their cash. Instead of just buying 10,000 shares, they might buy 10,000 contracts, which, is equivalent to 1 million shares. Or, it definitely gives them a little bit more leverage to fight the fight, and they've got a little bit more money to burn than we do. Um, Speaking of gamma squeezes and option chains, ATOS is not looking pretty at all, down 18%, almost 20% on the day. I would say this play is done. If anyone hasn't figured it out by now, but definitely a loss there, I would say. I mean, anything's possible. The chain is still loaded up, but you're going to need a lot of buying pressure to come in and move this back into the 550 range to even get within striking distance of moving it. I'm not saying, ATOS is a long-term play is done, because I know some people might be in here that were holding ATOS shares for the long haul. I'm just saying ATOS is a gamma squeeze play in my mind is probably done for today. Um, you know, um, Definitely something I'll keep my eye on moving forward, though, if we run into another situation like that. And I'm always looking for these situations with these gamma squeezes. And does it bother me that ATOS, like if this doesn't hit today? Nah, absolutely not, because for me, Clove's a long term play for me. GameStop's a long term play. That's where I have a lot of my money. I'm building positions in BNGO and AVXL. Those are long term plays. Um, but with like an ATOS that I saw when I came across this gamma squeeze, and sometimes I'll come across other ones. Um, when the potential is there for me, I'd rather you could throw $100 at it and end up walking away with 10 grand, um, or maybe even higher. The risk reward is definitely worth it, and it's like if you play just using that as a scenario, $100 turned into 10 grand. Um, so you could play that 100 times and just hit one out of 100, and and be doing just fine. Um, but and I have, because someone posted on one of my videos, and it wasn't about ATOS. It was one of the gamma squeeze plays that I think I posted about Clove. Like, yeah, how many times does this happen? And I think I've been pretty clear, like in all my videos about gamma squeezes, that they're unlikely to happen, but the setup is there, and when they do, you could make a lot of money. But I've actually been a part of quite a few of them now. I definitely that AMC run up to 72. I had jumped in either that morning or the day before with some calls contracts because the potential was there. Um, we hit one in Clove, and I think I played short-term options in Clove 4 times now, including this Friday. So 4 times I've done the short-term option gamma squeeze setup in Clove, and I hit one with AMC, like I said, and I think I've hit two on GameStop out of 6 times that I tried to load, get in and get the short-term buys. So um, the potential for it's there, and when you hit one, like I said, it's worth it. You know, but this one, I don't see it happening. I don't know how low this is going to go, but what we're seeing right now is the reverse effects of the option chain. Now it's driving the price down. You're seeing unwinding by the same hedging I talked about that could have drove us up if we would have like maybe got up to like 660 and held there, going into today, we would have seen this same price action and movement going in the other direction. But now I think what we're seeing with ATOS is just an unwinding of all those hedged shares. Um, yeah, I think D-Worm, I think for the links, there's something where it's got to be, you have to be a mod or be me to send it. It won't let anybody just post like links in the chat. Um, I don't know if you've got like Tar Heel on Discord or something, or co-creator. You could always like give it to one of them and they could throw it in the chat. Or you could even if you want to email it to me, I could pull it off my email and throw it in the chat. Maybe I could try to figure that out. Okay, D Worm says it's in the CLOV subreddit. All right. Steve Roberts. I'm gonna put this up here just because it's absolute bullshit. And so Stephen Roberts, I hope you're still in here. If you are, I'd love to know where you get your information at, because the same exact 13G filing where Citadel showed that it owns some shares of CLOV, it also showed that it owns shares of AMC, and it owns shares of a lot of other places. So I'll read this out for anyone who's maybe driving in their car and stuff. It says CLOV is owned by Citadel. Good job pumping Citadel pockets and giving them ammo to short AMC with. Um, and you know what? I am going to address this because you chose to come into my chat, and we'll talk about it a little bit because, you know, like I said, they own shares of AMC too. And I know that, there's some other prominent YouTubers out there who, gave you an explanation on why it didn't matter for AMC. And the same applies to everybody across the board. So basically, when you're a market maker and, you're doing your delta hedging the same exact way that I talked about with ATOS, if you're selling naked calls and the price is starting to go up, you're going to have to hedge some of those calls as it goes through by buying shares to offset them in case someone exercises the calls. Well, if that comes around the same time that you need to do your 13G filing, you're going to end up showing that you're owning shares of a company. But if you pull up Citadel, and I actually, I don't have it on my phone. I had text messaged it to Tar Heel yesterday. So if you want to go back and watch Tar Heel's stream from yesterday, he put up the screenshot that showed the major institutions that are short CLOV right now, and Citadel was one of them. So you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You came into my stream to try to show your AMC shit, and this is what kind of makes me mad about. I don't mind that you come in here. Actually hit the dislike button. I like the interaction. Um, but the reason I bring it up is because you got uneducated people that are, and I'm not trying to clown on you or nothing, but there is a lot of people out there that'll just read one post on a subreddit and then take that as knowledge and go run off and go spread it like it's gospel. And and hopefully I'm teaching you something right now if you're still in here, but it's that's really not the case. And Citadel is one of the bigger short positions in CLOV right now. And I'll just keep going. And I know that you didn't say it, but there's this whole thing about being a distraction. And I want to see AMC squeeze. I really do. I've said that on here many times. But a lot of the AMC community likes to sit around and talk about how CLOV's a distraction. This one's a distraction. That one's a distraction. Well, guess what, man? AMC is the first original distraction of GameStop. Okay, I was part of it. I was in GameStop before January squeeze. I actually had calls on AMC too. AMC wasn't a squeeze play at the time. It was a reopening play. It became a squeeze play when a bunch of bag holders got caught with their pants down when Robinhood pulled the plug, and then all of a sudden it became a squeeze play as it got shorted down. But it was the original distraction. So, and I'm not saying it's a distraction. I'm not saying anything is, but you just got to know what you're talking about when you come in and start shilling on people's Twitter accounts or their YouTube feeds and all this other stuff just because you want AMC to go back up. And again, I support AMC. I support GameStop. I got the AMC chart up right now, and I don't even have a position in AMC because I know that other people in my chat have it. So, anyways, there's my rant for the day. Occasionally, you'll get caught with one, and I'm not getting frustrated off anybody or anything. It's just sometimes it feels good to get that stuff off my chest. Um, all right, and Steve, if you're in here, I love you, man. Hopefully, you'll keep coming back. I don't care if you don't buy Clove. I'll keep the AMC chart up for you so you can watch it every day, and I'll even give you my opinion on AMC. And hopefully you hit a squeeze and you make some good money on it. Nolan, I haven't seen you in a while, man. I had a question the other day about webull, and I completely forgot what it was now. But one day I'll remember, and I know I could find this stuff by looking on YouTube and stuff. But It's much better getting the answers from you, Nolan. Dark pool hide their short volume. Meanwhile, retailers are buying 2 to 1 over selling discounts, but their volume overpowers us. Yeah, um, we've been seeing a lot of that. I mean, a whole lot of that. I know, like again, I'll go back to GameStop. Uh, you know, I you know, seen recently, and maybe even AMC. Honestly, I don't follow it that much, but where like 60% of the short volume, recently, 60 to 70% of the short volume coming in on GameStop has all been through dark pools. I believe I read something like that over like the last month. So it's crazy what they're able to do in the dark pools. Oh, I didn't even see. Did Steve leave more comments? I just read the one. I know I'm behind on the chat. Um, Sorry, co-creator. Uh, Reading about manipulation, one tactic is called poop and scoop. Poop on the price and scoop up shares. My question is, are enough shares being sold to slowly cover? Well, that gets back to, and I know I'm behind on the chat too, uh, but basically, um, you know, that's kind of what I'm talking about. They want to drive the price down so that they could buy back at a lower price, because then that becomes a profitable trade. The same way that you want to buy, let's say, if you want to jump into Clover right now at 820, and then even selling for 821 is a profit, right? So what they want to do is drive the price down, sell, 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 get it from 820 down to, like, let's say 750. Um, and then let's say we start selling. Now they could buy it back at an even lower price. That'll drop it down even more. And that's basically what these guys are looking to do. Um, SEC is like an episode of Dukes of Hazards being run by Boss Hog and Roscoe. It's funny you bring up Dukes of Hazards. I mean, I know it's not nothing about Dukes of Hazards, but just in general. Like, so I just drove to Reno. It's like a 3 hour drive from where we're at, and so my kids were complaining. So my wife's car has a little DVD player in it where they could watch TV, and the kids are complaining that, like, all the movies in their car, um, they've seen them all a bunch of times, and they're like, "What are we? We're going to be bored in the car, this and that." And I'm like, "Pick out some movies," and they didn't pick out any movies. So I'm like, "All right, I'm going to get some movies for you." So yesterday, what did we watch? I went and grabbed some DVDs. I have like a bin of old DVDs from, like, when I used to have an apartment, probably 15, 20 years ago. Uh, but anyways, so on the way up, they watched Caddyshack 2. Um, what was the second movie? Um, Man, it'll come to me. But I just grabbed some classics for them. We saw Caddyshack 2. They started watching the beginning of Brewster's Millions. Um, I think I put Bad News Bears in there. They didn't pick that one out. But I gave them some really cool options, some old school options. And God, it's gonna drive me crazy now trying to figure out what that second movie, because they basically watched two movies, and then they watched the beginning of Brewster's Millions. But I can't remember. Oh, Spaceballs. so so it was fun. I mean, I was driving. I only got to listen to it, but I had a good laugh just kind of sitting there. Um, TSS, sorry I'm behind, but yeah, let me pull up Vortex real quick. Um, oh wow. All right, so a 17% difference in short interest, 8.28 million shares borrowed. Um, wow. And then if we look at volume on the day, actually though, I mean, if you look at the price action, right? We're trading at basically flat on the day. So if there is people shorting into this stock, they're not getting very far with it right now, and that could be like we talked about. So CLOV volume right now is 5 million. So there's like a 3 million difference of the volume of the day and how many shares have actually been borrowed today, and that would assume that it's all shorting and nothing else going on. So yeah, definitely something's off. And it may kind of makes me think like maybe some of these numbers are getting reported a little late. at that. Like they're delayed in their reporting, probably intentionally. So let's see. Uh, ATOS, they want to delete the $4. Yeah, they're trying to really drive that thing down. Is MRN running right now? Um, let's see. I never got into MRIN, but I know it had that super high short interest. Nah, yeah, I would say MRIN. I mean, I don't know what the short interest is on it and stuff, but I mean, it just got beat down. I think yesterday it lost like 20%. We had it up for a little bit. Um, I mean, it did. Here, I'll pull up a daily on it down here if I can, just so I can see. But I mean, it went on a nice run. What, from $1 up to like $28, and it's just been in a free fall. Now that being said, now, I don't know anything about MRIN at all. Um, you know, if the short interest is high, this could be following the same exact suit as like CLOV or some of these other stocks. Like, you know, come down here, fill this gap, trade sideways for, who knows, a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then all of a sudden pop again. I mean, it was able to do it once, and if it retains a base at a higher level, and the short interest and cost to borrow is still through the roof, um, you never know. Um, all right, let's see. Ego says, "I hope you people got out of 550." Um, yeah, no. Well, I mean, for me, and I know we talked about this yesterday, and thank you, Ego. I got to continue to do that to throw in kind of like stop losses for people that are playing shares. Um, for me, I'm still holding on to the contracts because they weren't worth shit at 550. And that's kind of the way I play. Like that's the way I play the gamma squeezes. So I'll buy some cheap out of the money calls, throw a couple $100 in, and then all of a sudden, if it happens, turns into 5 grand, 10 grand, something like that. If it doesn't happen, all right, I'll catch the next one. But if you're buying shares, you have a lot more investment in, and I need to really remember to start laying out like what I would set a stop loss at. Um, you know, for the people that are playing shares, absolutely. Um, you must be talking about my little rant. My bad, guys. And honestly, it doesn't get to me. It's just I see that all the time, and it's false information, and that's why I just want to address it because it's false. Like if someone came in here, um, and was just sitting here like talking crap, like, oh, Clove sucks, blah 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 blah. It's like, all right, just ban them and move on. But when they're spreading false information, I feel like it should be addressed. You know, and it's just, I'm not knocking AMC shareholders because I know a lot of close friends who are in on AMC. A lot of people I've met, even just in these communities, like on Twitter the other day. I started talking with someone who was an AMC guy, and mad respect for everybody. That anybody in retail, whether you're in AMC, GameStop, Clove, or some of these other plays, Workhorse. I mean, we're all in the same fight. Um, and so but it's just when you're spreading false information, that's when I really want to address it. S. Rob didn't even have the decency to Yeah, I asked him to dislike it. I wanted the engagement. I don't know. It's too early right now. I was up late last night too. We were. I don't know if you guys could tell, but we ended up going down to the casino, and I think I lost about. I can't do the math right now, but about 30 Clove shares. Or I'll make it easier. Probably two. I lost about 2 GameStop shares, so not too bad, but more than I would have liked to. Um, can't bat 100 on gammas. Yeah, no, I agree. And sometimes I've been through runs where I've lost like six plays in a row, 7 plays in a row on these gamma squeezes. But then again, like I said, you hit one, and it makes up for you know everything you've lost and some. Let's see. Isn't Clove mostly owned by Vanguard and BlackRock? No, well, Clove's biggest institutional holder right now, and I could be wrong, I don't have it in front of me, but and I know I'm way late in the chat. Vanguard just sold, as far as I could tell, 17 million shares. They still own 9 million. There's also some speculation that they just redistributed the shares, but I don't know. As far as I could read the report, it looks like they sold the 17 million. But there were some other reports out there that, and it kind of makes sense that in June what they did was they distributed them to others. But either way, um, one of the biggest shareholders that I know of for sure is Green Oaks, owns 96 million shares. Um, I don't know what BlackRock holds. BlackRock is a huge owner in GameStop, though. I know that for a fact. Um, let's see. I would love to party with you, bro. I'll buy the beer. I'll tell you what, since you guys are on here, um, if you want to have a beer with anybody, you got to go on Tar Heel's channel today. Tar Heel Blue, um, and he'll be live streaming every Friday. He live streams every day during Power Hour. But speaking of drinking, Fridays is Stonk Tales, newly reminted. It was Stock Tales, but ran into some trademarking issues or something like that. But Stonk Tales, but it's on Tar Heel Blues channel, and it's really fun. And on Fridays, he usually has some special guests. I heard his new guest was going to be coming live from Reno, Nevada. Um, and having a couple drinks, maybe some White Claws or something. So definitely check it out if you're around during Power Hour. Um, let's see. AMC love, Clove love, BNGO love. Yeah, I mean it's all love. We're all retail, and there's definitely room to make money in other stocks. Now I will say this, and I understand where like some of the misapproach. Just getting back to that, and I know I'm way behind in the chat, but some of the frustration, and I understand. Like, yeah, obviously, if everybody banded together and all bought one stock, this thing would go through the absolute roof. Um, but if that was going to be one stock, it would be GameStop because that was the very first stock, and that was the one that still never, they pulled the plug. And that if they wouldn't have pulled the plug back then, that thing would have hit 1,000 like instantly. It was on its way past 500, and with no stop in sight. Um, and that's why I just find it comical when you see people trying to promote other stocks and saying that everything else is a distraction. Because at the end of the day, that would be the one stock. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I think there's more than enough money to go around. Um, I'm in multiple stocks, and I even then I always leave like 10 to 20% of my account so that I can go jump into like plays like ATOS and let my contracts burn up. um, oh damn, I'm hella behind. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not gonna get to all these comments. I'm gonna start skipping through because I'm way behind. Spaceballs, the flamethrower. My funniest memory from Spaceballs uh, is is and again, I was driving yesterday and listening to it. Is when he tells them to comb the desert, and they're all out there with those big ass combs, and they're out there combing the desert, and then the two brothers are there with the pick. It's like, man, we ain't found shit. That's like the funniest. I used to laugh at that so hard when I was a kid. Um, and then let's see here, Spaceballs, the short squeeze, yeah. What's the greatest golf movie ever made? Caddyshack. What's the worst golf movie ever made? Caddyshack 2. Yeah, Caddyshack 1 is way better. And the only reason I showed him Caddyshack 2 is because Caddyshack 2 is rated PG, and Caddyshack 1 was rated R. And so when I was grabbing the movies, I didn't remember why Caddyshack 1 was rated R. And if it was due to language, I probably would have just thrown it in. I just got to rewatch it. It's been a while. I don't want nothing too inappropriate. It's not like, I mean, my kids have watched rated R movies before, but it's something that like I've already seen, and I know what's appropriate for them. And I mean, they're it's not like they don't hear cussing. I'm not a saint around the house. I'll tell you that much. So, anyways, uh, yeah, but that's the reason I didn't show him Caddyshack 1, because I just didn't know, and I didn't want something like too inappropriate to pop up. especially with my wife in the car, and then she's like yelling at me for why did I show him this movie and that sort of stuff. So I tried to keep it at least PG-13. Um, all right, I think I'm almost caught up in the chat. I'll hold the bag on ATOS. I will not sell for a loss. Michael, I'll tell you this much, and this is not advice at all, just because I don't know. Um, Check out the ATOS subreddit, because this company is doing some really good things, and it seems like there's an announcement coming up about something, one of their phases in their trials or something like that I was reading. I was kind of skimming through their subreddit, and it really seems like there's some cool stuff. So if you decide to become an ATOS holder off of this, um, go do some research, because it does seem like a pretty promising stock. And it could be one of those things where, like, the first gamma squeeze that I jumped into on Clove was a dud, and then the next one hit. So, or maybe it was two later. So just holding on to the stock long enough, you may end up hitting it anyways. And I know Dave. I was talking to Dave offline. Dave comes in the chat in here all the time. He's actually he's in ATOS more long haul too. I think he's got ATOS through the year, on some leaps or some descent. Sorry, Dave, if you don't want me saying that exactly what it was, but yeah, I mean, Dave, I know Dave's got a position in ATOS that goes beyond today too. So it may be something that you're interested in. As of I don't even have my portfolio in front of me right now, uh, but if I did, I'm sure those contracts that I hold are worth a penny, and they're going to expire worthless. Felix says that book you recommended me, How to Day Trade for a Living by Andrew Aziz, is amazing. Expired and excited about trading while tempering my expectations about it. Thanks. Yeah, and then also and I don't mind plugging other people's YouTubes and stuff like that at all. It's all about learning. They have a YouTube channel. If you check it out, and I know he talks about it in the book, but I think it's called like Bear Bull Traders, and I learned a lot just by following that too. They'll kind of like review some of their day trades at the end of the day. And I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to every morning do a live stream from like 5:30 to 6, where they would break down and this was all free, where they would break down like their scanners and what stocks they're going to be watching. You can't actually watch them live day trade. I think you got to pay for that. I never did, but there's a lot of great information there. Um, I never became a member of the service. I just going through the free stuff. And I learned a lot reading those books. And there's a series of books that they ended up putting out. Andrew wrote a second one, and then I can't think of the other guy's name, but he wrote one on like the psychology of trading, which I think applies to swing trading and everything. So a lot of good information from that Bear Bull Traders, even if you go check out their website. Um, Ooh, Peter, this is some pretty interesting information. Um, Let's see. Just read on Twitter from Khalifa Trades. Apparently, the DOJ investigation on Clove is over. Anyone else can confirm that? I don't know. I mean, I can't. I don't have my news sources or anything up in front of me because I'm on my laptop. But if any of you guys can figure that out, that would be some great news. And that's something that I had talked about, months ago, that I think this DOJ investigation, SEC thing, it's already priced into the stock. That's part of the bear thesis in the stock and why the stock has been getting shorted and hammered down. So once that news becomes public, if it already is, and I'm behind in the chat, um, I think that information is going to absolutely push the stock up, because that'll be a positive catalyst at this point, because the negativity of it has already been priced in. So I'll be on the lookout for that today. Um, what's happening with ATOS? Why is it going down? So I kind of covered that a little while ago, but I'll talk about it again. So basically, the way a gamma squeeze works, right? you have all these calls outweighing puts, and it causes market makers to hedge the shares the closer we get to options expiration. Well, once the price got pushed down, I think below 550 ish. Sorry, I'm sitting in a hotel hallway on a chair. My mouse keeps falling. But once the once the stock got pushed below 550, you have the opposite effect of unhedging the option chain. So what's going on here is here's the I know this is I don't know how small this looks for you guys. Let me see if I can pull this up. But here's the ATOS option chain, and it really starts to, yeah, that probably where we're at right now, and this makes sense on the unwinding. So really, right around here at the 450 mark is where the calls extremely started outweighing the puts, and so what you're looking at is, if we would have got upwards pressure, and still even right now, and I'm kind of saying it's probably not going to happen. Like the Bulls lost on this one, but the potential still exists there, right? So basically, what happens is this accounts for about 2 million shares, 35,000 call contracts versus 15,000 puts. That's 2 million share differential. Um, there's still 50% of that's hedged. If we stay above 5 million, I mean $4.50 right now on the day, the closer we get to expiration, this is going to increase, which is going to cause market makers to buy 2 million shares, which could potentially push us to 5. But we are seeing a lot of short sale pressure trying to suppress this from happening. But at any point, the delta hedging that goes on upwards can push us all the way through the chain because it's so lopsided. There's like 90% calls to 10% puts in the chain for this expiration. But at the same time, what happens is when the stock starts moving downwards, now they can start unwinding and unhedging all those calls. So again, if this stock gets pushed down to $4, you're going to see half of 2 million shares, so 1 million shares, also get sold into the market because market makers will no longer have to hedge those, and that's going to drive the price lower. Um, but there is still an amazing setup in this chain. I mean, and I guess. And I don't want to get anyone's hopes up or anything like that, but I guess what I'm getting at is this. Just looking at this chain right now, at the $4 strike is a 4,000 differential, right? That's not a lot. But let's say today we wanted to kick off a gamma squeeze in ATOS. I'd be looking at this chain right now and saying, okay, well, shit, we're sitting at 450. There's a 2 million share differential here. If we could push this up to 5 and get things ramping, and then 550, we might be able to kick it off. And that still exists. I mean, a dollar movement, yeah, that's a lot for a 450 stock, but it's also somewhat of a low float stock. I mean, nothing's impossible, but it's also probably way highly unlikely. But anything can happen. We could see some volume pour into this any minute now, throughout the rest of the day that could kick this in the other direction. I'll tell you one thing, I'm definitely going to set some alerts in case it comes off. Coach, if we are holding CLOV shares forever, can we sell covered calls at higher prices, like $25 to collect some more money? Yes, you can. Here, let me pull up the option chain. I mean, I don't know, to each their own with these squeeze plays. I haven't been doing it only because I'm fearful of missing out, you know. But that being said, hold on, I got a text message. Oh, that was just the tweet that you guys were talking about from Khalifa Trades. But who knows if there's any news behind that. All right, so what I was going to say was, in terms of selling covered calls, I haven't done it on these squeeze plays, and the reason is I don't want to get caught if this thing runs up to 40 and now I got capped out at 25. You're obviously not going to get any money selling it this week, but like let's say you went for next week's strike, the way it would work is even if you wanted to sell, let's say a $25 call, like you're saying, you're only going to make about $2 selling that $25 call for next week. So if you really wanted to make some money, and I understand like maybe why you would go $25 call, because then that means someone's going to buy it away from you at 25, and you're going to end up, walking away with some premium and some good money. So let's say you went out to August, $25 call, you're still only making $14 on it. IV is kind of low right now on Clove. The only way you're really going to make, I think, decent money on this, let's say you went like August, and then, you know, damn, even selling the 1250 call is only going to net you like $40 premium, and then do you really want to be called away at 1250? Um, the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to wait until, if you want to sell covered calls, wait until we get a little bit of a run up and some green days, and then you'll see IV a little higher. But that's not something that I necessarily would do. Um, the cartoons today are worse. Oh, see, I'm hella behind in the chat. You guys are still talking movies. Yeah, no, I agree. I always got to keep them off Cartoon Network at night too. Uh, There we go. Phase 3 trials for ATOS in the next few months, it seems. Plus, someone had a write up on how it could be fast tracked by the FDA. So yeah, that's what I was reading in the subreddit. So looks like a decent stock in general. And they're trying to cure breast cancer. So a company that's doing something good. And I love to get in behind behind companies like that. That's one of the reasons I like BNGO, just with what they're doing, and I also think they're going to be a disruptor in kind of that cancer research. Um, let's see. Rookie question: what kind of indicators are you using on a daily basis, regardless of stock? So I haven't been day trading recently. I'd say for like the last couple months, since I've been, actually 6 months. I've jumped in a couple day trades here and there, but I've been doing more swing trading. But when I'm day trading, I usually just look at VWAP and a 1 minute chart. Occasionally, I'll throw moving averages up, but I've kind of learned to just like read the bars, and then I don't really know how to turn them on here. Um, like I know how to turn them on, but I don't know what moving averages these are. I haven't really messed around with them too much, but usually I would use like, a simple moving average and an EMA, and look for crossovers and things like that. Like if I was trying to day trade a little bit, um, and then also like Bollinger Bands to kind of see where the top and bottom of each chart is. Um, but for the most part, like if I'm evaluating a swing trade, um, I usually will just look at the, what is it, like the 200-day moving average, and really that's about it. RSI, MACD, just to kind of see where the momentum's moving on things. I don't have any of that up here right now, Tim. When I get back home on Monday, I can kind of go through and flip through. I'd love to, like, one of these days, maybe I'll try to do a live stream with my TD Ameritrade account, because I have like all that stuff dialed in that Thinkorswim software. It's just so damn slow when I'm on my computer when I'm trying to stream. It's pretty fast, and I love Thinkorswim for trading. And they've got a bunch of built-in indicators. I've got like custom indicators that I've put in over time. Um, so one of these days, maybe I'll even just make a video about like the different indicators I use, because I know I could make videos with Thinkorswim and it doesn't slow down as much. Um, Sorry, we're getting near. I'm just skimming through these now. I know I got way behind in the chat today. That's my bad, guys. I'm on my laptop, and I'm kind of like, um, been trying to catch up, trying to figure out how to get through here. Um, Clove is in the green. Going to be a rough day for short. Still looking for the DOJ confirmation. Yeah, I think Tar Heel, and I saw that you just said you saw Tar Heel said that too. But yeah, I think that was more like speculative, where she was saying that could be. Um, could be something. Co-creator, feel like I lose momentum as the stock loses momentum, and I've done hard time and beat cancer. That's that's awesome to hear you beat cancer, man. Cancer's a not to go on into negative town right now, but I got a lot of family members who died of cancer, um, and then I also have like my neighbor, years ago beat cancer, and my uncle recently beat cancer. But like I said, I also have a lot of family members who battled with it, and it just cancer sucks, man. And one day hopefully they find a cure for it. But very blessed, and that's great to hear that you beat it. Obviously, let me see. Co-creator, you're leaving us. Don't let it get you down, man. I know I'm talking to stocks now. I'm catching up in the chat and seeing what's going on here, but you know, I appreciate you in here and your insight and stuff. And sometimes I know I'm not sitting here talking about the stock 100% of the time, and especially today. I mean, really, just because my computer screen is so damn small, it's hard for me to even see what's going on. Um, but the other reason is too, sometimes when these stocks aren't doing as well, and I mean, yeah, we're actually green right now with Clove, but um, it's kind of cool to just take your mind off it too, or just talk in general and not necessarily stare at the bar chart or stare at your portfolio. I know I say that all the time, and I still end up, looking at my portfolio. Today, I absolutely have not looked at my portfolio, only because I don't think I have room on my computer monitor for it. Um, oh, not leaving the stream, just taking a break from watching the stock all day. All right, I can't lose my first mod ever. Um, Coach, are you gonna play some blackjack? Yeah, okay, so funny story. So I mean, like I used to always just to and I will before I know it's almost 8. I'm not gonna sign off with kind of like reviewing these stocks and stuff. So I might stay a couple minutes longer. I'm sure my family's still sleeping anyways. Um, so, I used to always sports. I mean, for years, I always bet sports. So we'd go to the casino, and I'd just be like in the sports book, betting on sports nonstop. And then we'd play Pie Gal all the time, because Pie Gal's a good game that you could just kind of like, you're not going to win a lot of money, but you're not going to lose a lot of money. And you sit down with a group of friends and just start drinking and just get free drinks the whole time. Um, but I've actually been pretty damn lucky with uh, with slot machines lately, and I've never been a slot machine person ever. And about I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was flying home from Vegas, and I know people always say don't play the slot machines in the airport. And we were waiting for the flight, and I think I hit like $600-700 on a slot machine in the airport right before the no, actually, because they made me fill out the tax paperwork, so it must have been over 1,000. But either way, so I won on this slot machine on my way home from Vegas. Then, you know, I went to this was here the casino I'm at right now. Uh, Probably about 6 months later, hit $1,200 again on a slot machine. And then last year I hit 12,000 on a slot machine. So I've actually had some pretty decent luck on slot machines, and I've never played slot machines in my life. Um, so like last night, I played a lot of slot machines, but um, blackjack's one of those ones. Like if I'm with my boys, or even today, like if my wife goes and sits down, she doesn't gamble much, or some of the other friends that we're here with. If someone else goes and sits down, is sitting at a blackjack. I love playing blackjack. I used to play it all the time. I'll go sit down there and mess around. Um, but I won't go play blackjack by myself or anything like that. Um, Bought a couple 450 strikes today for ATOS. Kind of feeling good about that right now. Yeah, I mean, especially on that dip. And like I said, you never know the way that this option chain is loaded up. Like I know we just went down 15%. We were hitting downwards of 18%. Yesterday we dropped 10%. It seems kind of crazy, but again, if we were evaluating this as a gamma squeeze play from exactly where it's sitting at right now at 478, I would still say this has gamma squeeze potential. Just looking at the option chain from where we're at. I mean, it's everything you want to see. You have all of the out of the money strikes have at least a 10,000 differential from 5 all the way up to 12. You know, um, and way more than 10,000 too. So, I mean, this could still happen. It just we've definitely been trading in the wrong direction. But we are seeing some green now. It hit as low as 430. It's at 480 now. If we start seeing ATOS pop above 5, pop above 550, we might get some action today. And these gamma squeezes take off quick. And the closer we get to expiration, the more faster and violently it's going to move. So I'm still sitting on my calls. They're worthless right now, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Um, let's see. Jerry says during the CLOV times, let's look on the positive and go leave a 5-star and review on Google Maps. I'm the first comment on there, and they reply back to me. Let's boost up the positive vibes. Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see. Sorry, I'm skipping over a lot of these right now because I want to. I'm gonna have to get out of here. Um, so I kind of just went over that, Taylor, just a little bit, but I'll answer it. Um, I don't think that they've delta hedged the shares for the open interest. I actually think we saw them unwinding those shares just now on this 20% drop. But like I said, um, you know, if we never had the run up that we had last week and everything else, and this stock was sitting at 450 right now, this would still be a good potential for a gamma squeeze. Like coming into today, I'd be saying like, hey, yeah, if we could push this stock above 5 and then maybe get to 550, it could still take off. Um, I mean, I'm not feeling anywhere near as confident as I was when we were trading at 660 a couple of days ago. That would have almost been certain at that point that they would have had to hedge all those shares, and that would have really kicked things off. Because really, we want to get to the 750 strike. That's where it's going to be, and get a little crazy. But I mean, it's a 100 million float stock, and sitting at 450 right now, being in the money. That's 2 million shares, of which 42% of them still haven't been hedged, roughly. Which is what, 80,000 shares. I could be way off on that. Or 800,000 shares. My bad. 800,000 shares, something like that. Um, that have to be hedged. If we stay above 450, those are just going to continue to be hedged as the delta increases, and delta is going to continue to increase every minute we get closer to options expiration, where eventually this delta is going to go to 0.99. Kind of like you're seeing back here. These are already doing it. And as that happens, that has the potential to move us up higher into the $5 strike, which we're actually only 22 cents away from. And if we can get above the 5, now that's 69% of another 2 million shares that need to be hedged. So you kind of get how it plays out, and it has the potential to push us higher. The problem is what we saw earlier today is the stock getting hammered down by short sellers or market makers that are trying to prevent this from happening. So they won early on, but I still think that we're going to see a gamma push upwards because $4 kind of seems to be the bottom, right? Like they're not going to unwind anymore once they get to $4 because now there's not a huge differential there. So we kind of hit the bottom, I think. And now it has the potential to go right back up, just based off the option chain. So, um, you know, I'm not feeling nearly as confident as I was a couple days ago, but also not giving up hope completely. I mean, I'm sitting on my calls; they're worthless right now, but they could turn into being positive. I'll definitely be staring at my phone. Um, let's see here. So just looking around before I sign off, and I apologize too for all you guys. I know I wasn't able to kind of get to the entire chat today. Normally, I'm a lot better about it, and normally I'm able to talk a little bit more about these charts and everything else. Today was kind of a so anyone who maybe joined late, just so you know, I'm sitting in a hotel hallway right now um, at a casino. I found this little hallway up this escalator above the casino where there was the only place in the building that didn't have music playing. I didn't want to do the stream from my room because my family's still sleeping. I'm on the West Coast and it just hit like 8 a.m. So, anyways, if you want to come back and join me, I go live every day. Um, and I'll be back on Monday morning. All right. Badass Dad's Cast, absolutely. ATOS seems like it's a whale away from popping today. And like you said, being in Clove taught me to temper expectations. Yeah, I mean, the way I always look at it is I'll identify when something can happen because that'll give me the opportunity to maybe throw a little bit of a bet in. Like even with Clove, when I saw the potential for a gamma squeeze this week, obviously we went in the wrong direction. We would have had to push past 10. But when I saw that, I went and threw, I bought some calls for this week because they were cheap just to expire this week. And that's more of a bet. When I make that bet, I know that it's probably not going to pan out, but if it does, it's going to pay off huge. That doesn't affect my long term position. So whenever I kind of notice these things kind of pop up, like with ATOS and stuff, I'm getting into it more as a bet. And, if it happens this week, it happens. If it doesn't, I know I'll hit another one. I know I will. And that's the way it happens. And when I hit that other one, I'll get my money back for the losing on Clove today potentially and losing on ATOS today potentially. And that's just the mindset that I have on it. T says, go jump on the hotel beds with the kids. They were doing that last night. Like I said, we ended up getting kind of hooked up a little bit. We ended up in a suite instead of two rooms. So if we would have had two rooms, I would have been in the room today doing this, sitting at a table much more comfortably and everything. But we got a suite instead, so the kids were all excited. It's like this big old couch that folds out into a bed with the TV, and there's like a bar in there. Like we got hooked up, pretty cool. So they were in there jumping all over the place, and driving the wife crazy and all that. But it was fun. Um, all right, guys. So real quick, Clove. I mean, we are holding pretty strong. You look at Ortex. I know we've taken a beating over the last couple weeks, but looking at the Ortex data on Clove, I mean, short interest changed to 13% today. 6 million shares borrowed, and we're pretty much trading flat. Now, could it be that all those shares haven't been used yet? Yeah. Could it be that these are shares that were actually shorted earlier in the week that are just now being reported? Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there, but to see that short interest number go back up and we're not going down makes me feel a little bit more positive about this. And, just to see that we're somewhat trading flat and finally starting to hold our ground a little, um, obviously green days would be better, but I'm just telling you, I have a feeling that green days will come. We just got to hold on and have faith in the company and the stock. Squeeze or not, great play. GameStop looking fairly decent. Um, Obviously another stock that's been down. All the memes and everything got hit hard recently, but after hitting as low as 155. Hit 175 in pre-market, and it looks like it's back up here to test that level right now. 174.12, up 4% on the day. We just talked about ATOS a little while ago. I'm going to look just because normally I'm looking at these other stocks that I'm in. So BNGO down by 1%, trading at 578. AVXL, is that right? Just flat on the day. Doesn't look like there's hardly any volume there either. Um, so yeah, AVXL just sitting there flat at 0%. That's seems kind of crazy, or just odd that I pulled it up right at that time. And I'm gonna go ahead and check AMC too. Also up 4%. So if we look at these charts, they really seem to be kind of tracking with each other. And I did see, yeah, I guess maybe we are too. It seems like we're on a little bit of a delay, but we do seem Clove kind of seems like it maybe is kind of moving with, we went down, kind of hit a bottom somewhere around 7:15 ish, and that's right around the time GameStop hit its bottom, and AMC hit its bottom at 7. And then they started working their way back up, broke through VWAP right around the same time. So it does look like we're kind of tracking with some of the bigger memes right now, and that could potentially be good if GameStop breaks above 75 and goes on a breakout right now and takes off. Maybe we'll see some movement out of everything. So again, thank you everybody for joining. I'm probably gonna go take a nap. I went to bed late last night. Um, hopefully the kids are still sleeping when I get back in the room. Um, Thank you again, everybody, for joining me. Make sure you check out, Tar Heel later on today, Stonk Tales, Tar Heel Blues channel, and the Natural Link Store just said ATOS cross VWAP, and I'm going to leave the stream on that because we're going to leave on a positive note. Hopefully, we get through, $5, and I'll be jumping on Tar Heel stream later. Probably already about 5 in after celebrating hitting this gamma squeeze if it happens. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good day.